great things that I'd like to go back and visit. I don't think I'm going to.
It's caffeine, actually. I found myself using it at the desk yesterday. Thought I better get a little something.
Still not Joe.
I think so.
John used to have it, so twice the caffeine, twice
That's
the
the sugar, yeah. That's the sugar.
Yeah, I think now they call them Mountain Dew.
There you go.
Well,
Not too
that's
extra.
so little bit, yeah.
Overheat a little closer, it doesn't look like it.
All right, according to my clock, it is 7 o'clock on January 28th, 2016. We will call this regular board meeting of the Somervell County Hospital District to order. Show that John Parker and Brett Neighbors are absent. The other 5 members are in attendance. Michael, would you lead us in an invocation and a pledge, please?
Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this day, and we just thank you for this community. Just ask that you be with those that are serving abroad, that are allowing us to come here and worship freely in this country. Just ask that you be with the board as we begin this meeting, and give them the strength and the knowledge and to make the decisions for the healthcare in this community and guide them in their decisions. Just ask that you be with us. Just in your name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Michael, thank you. All right. Everybody should have got a copy of the minutes prior to this meeting. Has anybody had a chance to read over them and see if they think that's what we did last time?
Yes, I did.
I did as well. Did you see anything you thought needed to be corrected or anything?
Everything looked good to me. Sure.
Me too. I didn't see anything that looked way out of order. Does anybody have any discussion or action that needs to be taken on those?
I'll move to approve them as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Sure, I'll second
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Show that passes 5-0. And that was inclusive in your approval of the minutes for the 17th and the January 5th meeting?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Item number 6. I think most of y'all got an email. I think Eugene got a copy from our attorney.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to attempt to pronounce her last name because I'm not that fluent in English. She can't meet with us, but I think we all got somewhat updated with what was going on there, so we're going to skip that. Oh, show that Brett Neighbors has joined the meeting. That means we'll also skip item number 7 since we're not going to leave, we're not going to reconvene. So at this point, Becky, would you give us a CFO report, please?
I sure will. We presented in the financial committee meeting the quarterly results instead of, because we had, in November we had presented October, so since then we've actually got November and December closed. So this is for the quarter, these numbers. The actual admits for the quarter, first quarter of 2016 were 118 with a budget of 135. Our gross revenue, $11,187,100. Our salaries for the hospital, $1,564,115 with a budget of $1,472,627. Our benefits, $565,388 with a budget of $593,273. And net revenue for the hospital first quarter, $2,746,867 with a budget of $3,139,699. Some of our supplies that we like to keep track of are, some of our expenses that we like to keep track of, one being supplies. For the first quarter, we were at $590,142 with a budget of $525,169. And some of that is because we've taken lab back in-house, so we've been buying more supplies than normal. Our professional services, we were at $480,869 with a budget of $475,791. And our repairs and maintenance, $77,435 with a budget of $89,957. Our indigent for the first quarter, $157,669 with a budget of $103,325. And that brings our total expenses for the first quarter to $4,129,386 with a budget of $3,959,367. Our cash collections for the first quarter, we were at 98.99% with a benchmark of greater than 98%. And our days of cash on hand, we were at 6 with a budget of 45. Our hospital collections for the quarter, $2,719,087 with net revenue of $2,746,867. For the cash flow in the hospital, we have a deficit for the first quarter of $52,794. But on the 501A clinic side, we actually have $17,543. That's it for the financials. I was going to mention that in January, on January 4th, we sent up an IGT of $70,000, and we were expecting to get that money back tomorrow plus. It'll be about $172,000. And that's for the DISREP, right? Okay, and then also on February 4th, we're expecting to IGT up $558,424, and this is for the UC side. We'll be getting back, towards the end of February, we'll be getting back $1.3 million. That's all I have.
And that's about twice what we expected to receive on the UC side. And that's just, that's the formula. The other piece of good news related to cash is we did receive a payment from Limited yesterday. We received $1,220,000 from Limited yesterday. That's the good news. The bad news is that's about half of what we expected. And that's a result of the bankruptcy trial, I guess the trial. It's related to Limited's bankruptcy, but it's the trial related to the value of the plant. That trial now is scheduled for February the 15th. It will be here in Somervell County. It'll be a bench trial. It'll not be a jury trial. So, we started out, I guess, whenever the CAD was involved in the estimates. We were pretty close together. We're right now we're at $2 billion apart of the value. They paid us on about $980 million, and then depending on where that value is, up to $3 billion. So that's what's to be decided, in the jury trial. If there is a settlement made during the trial, we'll receive whatever difference we have coming within 21 days. However, if it's appealed, it'll be appealed to a court in Waco, and our expectation would be it would be sometime in May before that would be settled finally, and we'd get the balance of the dollars. So, it's
But they've kind of indicated all along that they thought we would get our at least second half or another portion in May. Kind of worst case scenarios, kind of the indication they've given.
I think we'll receive the other. I think we'll receive the balance by May. I guess we were a little disappointed in what we received here. We were hoping to receive payment based on a value of $1.6 billion. That was, maybe that was wishful thinking, but I think now that it's become adversarial, they took the lowest dollar amount that they felt comfortable with, I guess, paying us on, and it'll now get decided, in the courtrooms what the value is. But once that value is resolved, finally, they're obligated to pay us within 21 days. Ronnie, look like you.
I just thought somewhere that in the 1.6 that you mentioned, I guess is what I had in my mind. I haven't stayed, up on this with the county judge or West Roland at the CAD or anything like this, but my understanding was that they would have to pay us based on what they thought the value of the plant was, and I thought that 1.6 or something like that was it.
That is what they took to the CAD. That is the value that they presented to the CAD, and the CAD's value was I believe 2.4. So we were within, 500 million, I guess, of determining the value. But once it went to court last Thursday on the change of venue and it was heard in Johnson County, and that the Limited had asked for two things. They asked for a change of venue, and they asked for a continuance. They did not get the change of venue. It'll be, the trial will be held in Somervell County. It'll not be a jury trial, it'll be a bench trial.
Right.
But then on the continuance, they only got 2 weeks on the continuance, and the understanding I've got from that is that the judge only allowed that because he was not available during the week of January 25th, when the original trial was settled. So, but that was our early expectation. We thought they had to pay us on 1.6, but in talking with Wes, I think they could have chosen whatever value their expert told them the plant was valued. Their expert, my understanding, is about 980. Our expert is about $3 billion. So a long ways.
That's just,
yeah, it is. It's and we verified. We only verified with the county, but they received the same proportional amount that we did. Got paid on the same value. No, and but from our perspective, we like, of course, we'd like to get paid on 1.6. That's that's $500,000 more for us, but we were happy to see the wire hit our county.
I'm sure the attorneys will make it abundantly clear to the appeals court in Waco how they need to move on this, because normally cases get appealed, they go for years before they get heard, and that can't happen in this case. It's got to be, if it gets appealed.
Well, here's kind of the bad news, is I really felt like this was a step forward, but then what's the date that we have to pay our bond payment?
Well, the bond payment's due on the 15th
Of February,
February.
not 15th of
Yeah.
some other year.
15th of next month, yeah. And that's 600,000. So that's most of the dollars that we receive.
Yeah, easily half of it.
Yeah.
We have both the bond and principal payment.
But the first payment is principal and interest. The second one is interest on it. That's slightly over 600,000.
Right.
Yep. 629.
All right, so any other questions for the CFO report?
Just out of, just in case you're wondering, so far for this year, as far as property taxes, this is including the plant, that we've received 1.7 million.
Right. But we'll get a hopefully nice check in February, because everybody
Yes.
waits till
Yep.
tomorrow at 4:59, you can go get in line to pay your taxes.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, so item number 9 is the COO report. Michael?
Just kind of bring you up to date on meaningful use. We have it tested for 2015 meaningful use. On the Medicare side, there are no dollars this year for us. This is the first year. We still have to do all the stuff for meaningful use, but there's no money on the table for us. On the Medicaid side, we do have a little bit of money left. It's about between 13 and 17,000. So the way that works, once your Medicare is accepted or kind of filed, then you can go back and file your Medicaid. So we will be filing Medicaid within the next week. And there's a little bit of money there for us. This is our last year of Medicaid. So after this year, there will be absolutely no money on the table. They have pushed for 2016 now. We were still stage 2. Originally, we were planning to move to stage 3. But they pushed it for another year, so until next year, we'll have to look at getting prepared for stage 3.
But now stage 3 will then free up some money for us to attest to, or not?
There's nothing out there. There's questions being asked about it. The thing is we were one of the very first hospitals in, so we're in a very small group this year that is not the first round of hospitals that are not receiving any funding. Now, next year, there's gonna be a large group that will receive any funding. So there's some question there. And there's been some stuff kind of, thrown out there as to whether or not there might be more money come into this program at some point, but at this time, the answer is no.
Unfunded mandates, we call those?
And
Okay, just checking.
Well, you lose a percentage of our Medicare reimbursement if we don't stay in the program, so they catch you on the back end.
All right, any other questions on the COO report? All right, let's move on to item number 10. Ray, if you'll give us the CEO report.
just bring up today where we are with the reorganization of the Roger E. Marks Foundation. We're continuing to move forward on that. We have had no one turn us down that we've contacted. So Lisa and I are in the process of scheduling a meeting with the new group to bring them in with the existing board and hopefully reorganize that board with significantly new members than we have right now. Just kind of related to the Roger E. Marks Foundation, if you've been at any counter in the city, you've probably seen an advertisement about the run that Lisa is putting together for February 13th. We've had excellent response.
Well, let me tell you just an aside from that. I think that is the most well-publicized event that has ever happened in Glen Rose. Dairy Queen's got signs. I don't get on Facebook, there's not signs. I don't get, everywhere you go in town. And I think if this isn't the hugest success, it is not because Lisa didn't try. Because I think she has definitely put in the effort and legwork, and I see her footprints all over town. I think she's done a fantastic job of preparing us for that.
And she's got most of the costs covered already with sponsors. So it's she's done a remarkable job.
Yeah, just FYI, she's still looking for 2 more sponsors.
Okay, there you go. All right, anybody interested? There you go. Just an update on anything else on Roger E. Marks. Construction updates. I was out at Pecan today. They're about to wind that up. I think they'll finish up next week. They've got all the cabinets in. They've got all the flooring in. They've got the ceiling in, and they've had a little bit of trim work that they need to do. But I expect they'll finish that up next week. And it's looking very good. We'll have an open house out there sometime. We'll probably start using it as soon as it's finished for the patient care side. It'll take us a little while longer on the therapy side to get it to get the equipment in and get it up and running. So we'll probably wait until we've got both departments up and running before we have an open house. But we'll be scheduling an open house for that sometime in the next 30 to 60 days. It looks really good. And I was over Dr. Hudson. That's been a little more challenging of a project, say it nice, I guess. But they're about to wind it up. They've kind of got it all rounded up into one exam room now that they're finishing up. So we're about to finish up with both of those construction.
And they're working on it now.
Yeah, they are. They're over there right now. They sure are. You're right. And I'll have a little bit more on the on those in another agenda item here.
All right, any questions about the CEO report? All right, Ray, thank you. Item number 11 is going to be committee reports, and so we'll start out with Kelly with a quality committee meeting report.
The hospital quality meeting committee met on Tuesday, January 12th, and went over, they're meeting quarterly now, so we have 3 months worth of new information. For unplanned readmissions within 30 days, there was 1 in September, and that patient had been a readmission in August. This was their 3rd visit, and patient was again insisting on going home earlier than actually recommended. In October, there were 4. 3 of them have been reviewed by our physician peer reviewer. 1 was not related. Second stay was related but couldn't be avoided, and all care was appropriate on the 2nd and the 3rd. In November, there was 1 readmission, and that is waiting on our physician peer reviewer. There are no healthcare associated infections or invasive procedure related infections within the year of 2015. We had falls in the hospital, and this is all falls in the hospital, whether they're patients, inpatient, outpatient, or family members or visitors. There were 2 in September, 0 in October, and 4 in November. and of the 4 in November, one of those was a visitor. 2 of those in November did have some minor injuries, nothing major. Other injuries to patients, there were 0, and there were no never or sentinel events. We went over the ED patients' acuity level for the last 3 months. For the whole year of 2015 and 2016, the acuity has pretty much stayed at an average of the 3 level, which is mid, which is about right. So the committee has decided that we will not report on that every quarter anymore since it's been so consistent. The ED monthly average length of stay, we will continue to monitor, and it was 115, 108 minutes in that order for September, October, and November. And there was an ED monthly census of those 3 months of about 650, 684, 697, and 640. They, as a total whole, there were a yearly summary of complaints and grievances, 14 complaints and 3 grievances. And we also went over and discussed the HCAP scores, which is your hospital consumer assessment of healthcare providers and systems. Our HCAP scores have done very well. They've risen. We have had the best score yet ever that I've seen of 89% on always received help when wanted. And so I was really proud of the nurses for doing that. We are still continue to be above the Texas and national average on all of the 10 items that they group on. And I think some of this we've discussed, some of the things that we've put into place in the last few months is bedside shift reporting, which enables the nurses to do shift report at the bedside. It involves the patient and the patient's family if they're around. The nurses are now making daily rounds with the physicians a lot of times, so if the physician's going in to see the patients, the nurses are going with them, so there's a consistency on the message that's given to the patient, and then the nurse is also up to date with the physician, what their care plan is. And we've also started an interdisciplinary team meeting every weekday. And what that is all ancillary people that are involved in the care of the patient, physical therapy, radiology, lab, cardiopulmonary, respiratory, and the nurses. The nurses will come in, case manager, social worker. Nurse will come into the break room for just a few minutes, give a brief synopsis of the patient. Everybody discusses anything that they need to discuss, and so everybody's on the same page. It's helped a lot with everybody being on the same page. A nurse is not having to stop and say to cardiopulmonary, this is our plan on this patient, and answer a question from the lab on the same thing that cardiopulmonary. So it's helped a lot with time management and to keep everybody on the same plan for the patient. And I think it's also helped on our HCAP scores. And that's the report.
All right. Any question about the quality committee? Budget Finance Committee?
Same stuff.
Building and Planning Committee?
Yeah, we did have one meeting, and we reviewed the RFP received from the architect Gaffin related to the design, providing design and drawings, and it did not meet our needs. In visiting with representatives from the firm, we did ask them to go back and prepare a not a bid, but prepare a proposal for us, breaking out each one of the separate areas, the design, the drawing of the plans, and so we've asked them to submit that to us. When we receive that, we'll have another meeting with the Building and Planning Committee and review that, and if appropriate, bring it back to the board for a decision.
All right. Any questions about what Building and Planning Committee's doing? All right. Item number 12, discuss and if necessary, take action on the order of election to elect 5 members of the Board of Directors of Somervell County Hospital District. Election to be held on May 7th, 2016. And correct me, this is a formality where we basically have to, somebody has to make a motion, somebody has to make a second. We have to actually order the election.
Yes.
And then there's paperwork that we have to take back to the
Yes.
elections office for them to schedule the election to be held when we're having it on May 7th.
Yes, and we'll need to sign by each member of the board if once it's approved. And just to, it requires the appointment of an early voting clerk. I did talk with Deborah, I hope I got the name of Gartrell. I did visit with her. She's willing to be the election clerk, supervisor, and she's also willing to, or have asked us to appoint the same assistants that we had last year. We'll take that action at our February meeting to formally appoint all three of them, but related to the early voting clerk, she's agreed to do that. So I think that needs to be a part of the motion, is to approve this and approve her as the early voting clerk.
All right. So moved. All right, so Paul makes a motion. Anybody make a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Shows it passes 6-0.
And we'll pass the form around, and we need each board member to sign, please.
All right, well, we're doing that. Item number 13, discuss and if necessary, take action on request for proposals, RFPs, received for the destruction and removal of existing buildings located on Gaither Street lot.
The Gaither Street lot.
Gaither Street lot of the Glen Rose Medical Center campus. Basically, we're talking about the buildings that are over by Sticker Stadium and the old Church Christ that used to be a hotel before my time.
I have three sealed bids, and I also have a proposal from the county. And the county does not have to be sealed, because if we should go with them, we would do that through an interlocal agreement. So I have three sealed bids. This one is from BBHE First, and that bid is $8,975. And from Richard Trotter.
Who was the first one?
BBAG First. This one is from Richard Trotter. Their total bid is $8,500. Okay. Okay, all right, so there is, if the trees, if he does not have to take down and haul off the trees, there's his basic bid is $8,000, but if the tree also involve the trees, it'd be $8,500.
How much was the BB, whatever it was?
$89.75.
Okay.
From C&M Hauling, I believe. C&M Hauling. So, we'll make sure. Looks like this bid is $5,000. The proposal from the county is $5787.02. I would assume that you refer these to the building planning committee for consideration. Is that correct?
I would assume, don't y'all think that it ought to go to committee and then?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we need to make a motion to do that?
So,
Because it said discuss if necessary, take action, so.
I'll move to refer it to the building.
So Ron made a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Eugene seconds it. Is there any further discussion? With no further discussion, all in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign.
I'm sorry.
Shows it passed 6-0. Moving right along, page 2. Item number 14, discuss and if necessary, take action on the issuance of a request for proposal, RFP, for interested parties to purchase existing building and lot which is currently being used as a laundry facility for the purposes of constructing a hospital-approved laundry facility to provide services to Glen Rose Medical Center and Glen Rose Nursing and Rehab Center.
Give you just a little history on this. We've already approved the sale of land to the Glen Rose Nursing and Rehab Center. When they went out and surveyed the property, there is the house that is standing there now, that it's an older house, which is being used for laundry services right now. And the survey sort of went around the house. So they've come back to us and they would be interested in buying the property that the house is sitting on, and we need to see what if there are other interested parties out there would be interested in buying that property, which would include the old rock house that's on it. And I guess part of this proposal would be us arriving at what the value of that house is, if it has any value greater than the land that it's sitting on.
Well, I thought just from looking at the lot and stuff, I thought we were always talking from the eastern property line, which is the closest to the back of Los Primos and kind of to the existing nursing home west end, that we were always talking about that house being included and going all the way to a privacy fence there if y'all want to go by and look at it and make sure we're on the same page. But after looking at the RFP we put out an RFP just saying the land. And then I think for us to be compliant with 286, I don't think we can just include the house there because the house is a deeded piece of property. And so I think to do the correct thing is to do that. Now, having looked at the house, I really hope somebody buys it because we don't want it.
Well,
We'll pay somebody $5,000 to tear it down like we did what's on the other end. But that is only my opinion.
But we feel like an RFP needs to be issued to do it right. So I guess we need a motion to issue an RFP.
I'll make that motion.
All right, so Paul's made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll put it
Eugene has seconded it. Any further discussion?
Just be run this by them again. I know what's required of the county to do all this, but make sure that through Kevin that we comply with the law as far as selling the property.
Since it is a structure.
Did you talk to Kevin about that or not?
Honestly, don't remember.
I know there was a question came up on it a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know where the original question came, whether it came from whether the nursing home started the question or whether we started the question. But you and I looked at it.
About how much of that?
How much of that lot they were getting. And to be real honest, if we sold them the land that we wanted, there would be an L-shaped piece of property keeping the house that's there on the back side of, is it on the back side of Los Primos or is it on the back side of the pharmacy? It's on the back side of
Los Primos.
Okay, on Los Primos. I mean, it would be, yeah, it would be so landlocked, it would be
worth it.
And it would square it up if they bought the entire plot.
yeah. So any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Show that passes 6-0. All right, item number 15, discuss and if necessary, take action on securing a bank loan to finance remodel and expansion of Pecan Clinic and Therapy Services located at the Village of Pecan Plantation, 2800 Village Road, Suite 1, Granbury, Texas, 76049.
Well, we've about finished the work up there, and I've talked with Interbank where we have a loan for the remodel downstairs. I'll just talk about the building piece of that now. And what they have suggested to us is that we include this with that note that they reissue the note, re-amortize it, so that the payment is approximately what we were paying now. We've paid down the principal on this, but they would re-amortize it so that our note payment is about the same. And the way that would work, is we cannot finance it beyond
May.
beyond
2 years.
a year from now.
Right.
Yeah. And then there'd be a balloon. They'd re-amortize it based on probably about a 5-year amortization, and there'd be a balloon at the end of
All right, any further discussion? Or any discussion to begin with?
Gotta pay for it somehow.
That's right. Well, hopefully, we'll get that remodeled out there and just help us out tremendously on the bottom line around here.
So-
It's looking very good.
Do we need to take action on this? This is discussing, or should we take action?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I
y'all
think
need-
so. We're
y'all
spending
need-
money. I think there needs
Y'all
to
need
be.
to approve, I think, the addition of this and perhaps approve the chairman to sign on behalf of the board.
Yeah. And generally what happens on those, once y'all give us authority, I kind of growl at Trice, I make him go to Red Barn and get John to sign it too. That way, you know, it's not just Chip going down to the main doing stuff. I just think that's fair. Right, I'm just, well, that way, yeah, I've got a partner in crime, you know, maybe we'll get a shell together and talk about old times.
I'll make that motion.
All right, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll say.
And Brett seconds. Any further discussion?
Yes.
All right.
It's operating outside of the district. I don't think we should be doing it. I think we should only do things inside of our own district.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Show that we 5-1 with Paul voting negative. Item number 16, discuss and if necessary, take action on securing bank loan to finance and purchase equipment for the expansion of Pecan Clinic and Therapy Services located at the Village of Pecan Plantation, 2800 Village Road, Suite 1, Granbury, Texas, 76049.
You also have attachments, you have two lists. You have the first list is the equipment for the furnishing of the pecan practice side of that, and it's, yeah, it's,
Staple.
it was stapled behind, top of that, right here.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Equipment for that is $20,167. On the rehab side, there's that's 75042. There's a couple items that I want to call your attention to that we've included on this. One of them is if you'll see that on the third page, about 6 or 8 items up to $17,900. That is an anesthesia machine, is what that is. Our anesthesia machine has to be replaced. Both of them have to be replaced. But we found a refurbished one, and so I've included that on the equipment list. I want to make you aware of that.
But that piece of equipment actually stays here.
Yeah.
It doesn't go to, right.
And I'll call your attention to one other item too that's on, that's the last item there right above the delivery and assembly. It's the offset unweighted system. And again, this is a pre-owned or a refurbished piece of equipment. This equipment is primarily for a patient that we're treating over there who he's, I'm not sure exactly the terminology. He's not complete.
He's not a complete quad.
Not a complete quad, but it's a patient that we're seeing. He had an opportunity to be transferred to Houston for his therapy, and he's an adult. He's declined to go, so he wants to stay here. And this is a piece of equipment that initially be used for his treatment, but we can use it and would continue to use it on our therapy here, and if necessary, out at the patient. It's a piece of equipment that gets the weight off of the patient, so that the patient can work on a treadmill or whatever exercises. And it's a real. I was trying to say it's real. I'm really pleased with the work that the therapy has done with this particular thing. So I think this would be district money well spent.
Right. Well, maybe set us apart from some of the other physical therapies in the neighborhood.
Right, there's not one in the vicinity.
Right. Right. No, I'm excited about physical therapy out there. I mean, I think we've had the medical services covered out there. Just in some brief surveying and stuff, I think we're going to be surprised at the amount of physical therapy business we pick up there. And I think it's just like having a convenience store. I don't drive to Cranberry to buy gas. It's 30 cents a gallon cheaper. I drive to the place that's handy. Be better walk. All right. So y'all have had a chance to look over this. We're talking roughly, what, $209,000 total?
Total, yes, huh?
And so,
And I'll tell you that on the equipment side, that's the loan that we've paid down significantly on that, because that's our bigger loan, and we've significantly reduced the principal on that, over the last couple of years.
well, but I think you gotta spend money to make money. And I think we're gonna have to certainly we've spent, we built the building.
Yeah, we furnish it, yeah.
And so I do believe the utility pay will come, so. Any further discussion? Anybody want to make a motion? Well, this room got real quiet.
I'll make the motion.
All right, so Ron makes a motion.
I'll second it.
And Eugene is going to second it. Is there any further discussion?
Yes, I'll state again. I disagree with us operating outside of the district.
All right. Any further discussion?
Y'all remember what the first number was on the anesthesia machine we were?
In our capital budget, we had $100,000.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right, that's what we had, and we, visiting with, and I'll tell you, we have a new anesthesia provider, and she's telling us we need to get it replaced quickly, so that's why I put it on this list.
Right.
So we've gone out and we've had our anesthesia providers look at different equipment. This is a refurbished piece of equipment, but they're pleased, which will be a significant upgrade for what we're doing, but they're pleased with that. And we'll need to be, at some point in time, we'll need to be buying another one so that it gives us capability of running 2 rooms. This would be a good place to start.
On a scale of 1 to 10, your anesthesia is one of your higher liabilities
Oh, yeah.
in the medical business. I mean, I think second only to surgery or something. It is up on the top. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Showed it passed 5-1 with all voting negative. Item number 17, discuss and if necessary, take action on addition to board rules to add 3007 notices to all meeting notices to prevent open carry meetings and verbally enforced on site by meeting by chair. A under that says discuss and if necessary take action to include proper posting of notices at all entrances to Glen Rose Medical Center buildings, which I think we've actually already done that. And I was thinking on that item A, what you and I discussed was here's the deal. Hospitals are automatically on that list and we already have signs up. But the Citizen Center is an oddity. The county owns the building, but the county doesn't run the building. The Citizen Center does not have an elected board of directors, so there's nobody, I was on the board down there for years, there's nobody that can say we're putting signs up. And so the county can't put signs up and the center can't put signs up. I think what we should do would be have us some portable signs made, similar to what we have, or exactly like what we have posted on the doors, that no matter where we had our meetings, we could take the signs. If we take action to have the 3007 or 3006 or whatever, any building that we occupy while we're in charge of that building, while we have it rented, we're in control of that building and we can put up our signs. We would just have to take them down when we left. And that was my intention, to follow up on that and make it that way. Is that what you want?
I thought that, my understanding is, and it differs slightly from yours, is that if it's a public building owned by a public entity, other than, I think, the school and the hospital, that they can't prevent open carry in those buildings. But if it was a privately owned business, that business owner could say, we're not allowing those weapons here, and ask people to not have them.
Well, it's automatically understood that any sort of governmental meeting, you can't take firearms into, period, whether they're concealed or open. But I just thought if there were people concerned about it, you know, I have no problem with us having some portable signs made up. And if we're in control of that building, if we take action on that, we can prevent people from carrying guns to our meetings, just like the county has done. Now, do I think that's being contested in court as we speak right now? Absolutely, but until then, I think we make up signs, they'll do it. My fear is if there is people concerned about people bringing guns, just because if we put them on our posted agendas does not necessarily mean that people are notified that they can't carry the guns. I think we have to have the signage up to accomplish that.
You're talking about guns now, we're only talking about open carry.
Right.
You can carry a concealed gun.
Not to a governmental meeting or to a hospital or to a school.
You
Or
can't?
to, no, there's a huge list of places you can.
Yeah.
I thought 273,
According to Kevin, our attorney, you can carry, help me on this, Michael, you're the expert here.
The way is that the hospitals are listed on there that they have, you can opt out of 30-06, which is a concealed carry. We can choose to, we're not automatic. 30-07, anybody can kind of opt in or opt out on whether if you have a business or whatever. 30-06 gets a little more. The question is, in the letter that Kevin put out, is that if it is off premises from our building, therefore 30-06 is non-applicable. Now, the governmental meeting side to it could be a little different.
Right.
But in other words, 30-06, we could not post at Therapy across the street. We couldn't post it at Pecan because it is off of our premises.
Right.
It's a building off. But 30-07, we can opt in or out of depending on where we're
Right.
at.
As long as we meet here, I think it's, once the board meets here, it's not an issue because we have postings at all of our entrances.
I don't know, after May, I don't care what y'all do.
We'll try to follow the same rule.
But, I'm just saying, I'm not opposed to whatever y'all's decision is about this. I don't really care either way.
so did the attorney agree with what Torch says here in their recommendation here?
Yes, because Kevin's the one that sends that.
Yeah.
Front porch.
Front porch.
Right.
So what they're saying here is they're saying, prohibits governmental entities from posting signs prohibiting guns unless another law prohibits guns at that specific location. It means that if a governmental hospital cannot prohibit concealed carrying or open carrying of handguns at its off-site campus facilities.
Well, I'll tell you, I spent about an hour talking to Danny Chambers about this, and he said, we've called lawyers, we've called the municipal league, we've called, and he said, if we could put signs up, he said, the only complaint we've had in Somervell County was at the Republican meeting at the Citizen Center. And he said, you know, I don't know what y'all ought to do. And I said, well, I think we'll just take signs up and put them up when we go down there and we'll take them down. But I think, and Ron, you're the lawyer here, I'm not, but after looking into this, I believe it's in the penal.
paid to represent the board, so.
Okay. I think in the code 45.06 says you can't take guns into governmental meetings where they're having discussions, because I know it hadn't happened in a while, but there has been some hard feelings at some of these hospital board meetings. So anyway.
That particular question wasn't posed as that to Kevin, was it? Or?
I'm
not
not
that
talking
particular
to Kevin
question.
on it, about this, I've just copied.
Yeah, if we're having a meeting, he talks about here in institutions of higher learning and stuff, but,
Yeah.
you know, and we are, if we go down to the Citizen Center, we're releasing that for that one evening, and I'm just wondering if we are absolutely allowed to post signs just while we're there. I would ask that question.
I don't know, I asked Danny, I said, after the question came up, I said, so y'all put them on all the government meetings, because I saw online where y'all put them on, like at the annex and the courthouse and blah, blah, blah. And he said, every building we have, except for the Citizen Center. He said, because we don't operate the business, and he said it was just an oddity, and he said, we're trying to figure out how to do it, and he said, that's the only complaint we've had, and I said, well, I think we'll just make up our own signs and put them down there, and he said, do it, and he said, worst things that happen, somebody would grab them.
What about if we're renting the main part and somebody's renting the back room, do we put up signs?
We rent the whole thing when we do it.
We did, okay, just curious, because I know they
I'll
rent both.
be real honest, sometimes, now that we do our,
Some of the tax season in the back room.
yeah, when we do our deal where we sign the doctors off, what's that called?
Credential.
Credentialing.
Oh, yeah.
When we do credentialing, when we go in executive session, we take the plexi room.
Yeah.
But now that we do that quarterly, if we were having meetings down there, I would call them and say, we're not having credentialing in January and February, we're gonna do that again in March. So that if they want to lease that building out to somebody besides us, and since I don't have anything reserved down there now, but used to, that's kind of what I did. I'd go in and say, okay, here's gonna be for the next 6 months, here's when our meetings are gonna be. And when we were doing credentialing, we automatically needed them. And then, like the week before, I would check with Kanda and see if we were gonna have credentialing for them or not. It wasn't such a big deal like in February, but during the summer, there'd maybe be people that wanted to have, you know, baby showers, wedding showers, and they didn't need the whole room, they just needed the back room, or.
About tax season they use.
Yeah, and that, I mean, they have it there, but I mean, if we're not gonna use it, let them rent it out and have something else going. All right, so is anybody making a motion, or are we just discussing this? The action item actually says that we are just gonna put it on the bottom of our agenda items, on the bottom of our posted agendas, but.
I'm not sure what that does for us.
Well, I'm just reading this thing, it says open carry. Now, that means, you just telling me it's concealed guns also?
No,
No.
you can,
I was trying to say, this all this is word for is 3007,
yeah.
Right.
not 3007.
That's all it's talking about, the open carry.
That's good.
And I agree that the posting it on the meeting notice doesn't comply with law. I mean, you're giving somebody notice, but that's not what, the law
Right.
says it has to be posted on the
Right.
entrance. So.
No, and that's why I said maybe us actually have a sign.
Now, a private business owner, even if they don't have a sign, if somebody comes in with an open carry, they can ask them to take it out.
Absolutely, just verbally, they can ask them to
Or
leave.
they can hand them,
Right.
something in writing, or.
Open carry alone.
Right,
Right, right.
right,
Yeah, all right.
Written or verbal.
yeah.
But that's a private business.
It just seems to me that it's an exercise in futility to put it on the notice. I think the sign is what needs to be done, and forget about putting it on the notice.
I see no problem with also putting it on the notice. Was
Well,
that a motion you made?
No, I'm not saying it. I'm just saying I don't think you're
Right,
actually doing much, but,
yeah,
no, somebody else make a motion.
okay. So Paul, this was your baby.
I'm not making a motion.
Really? Okay. So is this gonna die for lack of a motion? Is this something we want to think about and maybe take action on it?
If you'd like for me to contact our attorney regarding the Citizen Center and the posting there, I'd be happy to do that, if you want me to do that.
I'd like to see that.
And ask him about Senate Bill 273, because I think that's the thing that I have an issue with, that I believe allows that now.
Well, just out of curiosity, Paul and I had a discussion on
Yeah,
Facebook.
that's discussed, excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt really, but at the bottom of the first page under off-campus facilities, he addresses Senate Bill 232. You said 273, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there.
Well, Paul and I had a pretty heated discussion about open carry. Raise your hand if you've seen somebody open carrying since the law went into effect.
Said what?
Anybody, raise your hand if you've seen an open carry person.
I don't think I've seen one.
And I,
Okay.
Not in this state.
Yeah.
Did you see one?
Yeah, at a restaurant.
Okay, so she saw one. Anybody else?
I saw one in Arizona.
I'm talking about Texas.
I wasn't Abilene.
I'm being more specific. I almost said
That's the old.
I'll tell y'all a funny aside to
Question
this.
other people too. They haven't seen one.
Our older son moved to Colorado about 9 or 10 years ago. Colorado is open carry with no restrictions. Anybody that wants a gun can have 2 or 3 of them strapped on, no big deal. I've spent weeks in Colorado. I counted up the other day, 27 weeks in the past 9 years. I've seen a grand total of 3 guns. And one of them was a guy taking us on a trail ride. And he said, I just have this in case there's a mountain lion or a bear or something. I said, oh really, what's that, a mountain lion or a bear? And he said, no, I ain't never seen one, but I carried it anyway. I saw one guy, I believe was an undercover policeman, and I saw one guy that I think was really actually open and carrying. And every year when we go up, we spend a week in a different part of Colorado. So, I mean, we've been north, east, south, west, all over, and I can't find it.
You didn't go to the right restaurant. There's a restaurant somewhere, Pueblo?
No,
Not
it's
sure.
in Rifle, Colorado,
Rifle, okay.
and I have been
They
there.
encourage people to.
I have been
The
there,
waitresses.
but the only people I saw carrying there were waitresses, and knew it's part of the dress code. All right, item number 28 is discussing if necessary. Oh, 18, I'm sorry. I didn't grow up in Rome, I grew up around here. Discussing if necessary, take action on attorney's fee.
Now, I asked about this because I want to make sure that we're not incurring more attorney fees than we have in the budget for it. And if we do we need to take action and ask the Budget Finance Committee to come up with a way to move money from one part of the budget to that part of the budget to cover the actual expenses we've incurred?
We'll look at that, but we've had very, very few attorney fees during this first quarter. I actually can't think of.
But if you're talking about the pending litigation and whatnot, that is so far being covered by the insurance company because they picked the lawyer and sent the lawyer to us.
Yeah.
And
So we filed a claim with insurance on that? And
Yeah.
and we had to pay a deductible?
No, we have not paid anything.
Okay.
yeah.
No. We have not paid anything related to pending litigation.
And the other side of that, don't know if it's transpired or not, any work that Kevin did and billed us for that we paid him prior to the insurance company's lawyer taking over, Kevin is going back and finding those billable hours and blah, 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 and he's gonna credit those back to us. And then the insurance company's gonna wind up paying for those. And so we should be getting, if we hadn't got it, a refund yet or not.
But we've incurred no expense and we've paid no dollars.
Okay, that was my concern.
Sure.
Because I knew the legal stuff was going on, I was like, I don't worry.
No problem.
All right, any action to be taken on that? We've had our discussion there. All right, item number 19 is my favorite one to do every month. I know it's Paul's least favorite one to do. Okay. Did I give y'all a copy last month of the letter that we'd gotten from the banker concerning Linda Anderson?
We sent that out.
I wanted to make sure everybody got a copy of that, but I'll be real honest. She'd have got it that day after reading that letter, except you get the award this month for what you did last month. And so the calendar kept her from getting it, because that letter came like the week of our meeting or whatever. And I'll tell you, stuff happens here. I go to Dairy Queen, people gripe. I go to the gas station, people gripe. I go here, there, and yonder, people gripe. And I don't mind. A lot of times, the people are sometimes misinformed. And I tell Ray all the time, I don't mind constructive criticism. I don't want destructive criticism. But when somebody like that bank president goes way out of his way to put something on his letterhead, and he didn't just mail it here. He mailed it, it came to my post office. He had to look up my address, and he had to work on that. That takes a lot for somebody to be impressed. Now, if it had been his wife or his daughter or his girlfriend or whatever, then okay, I get those all the time. You know, y'all are just great. This, you know, Granny's doing fine because y'all are singing. This guy was almost a disinterested third party, but he went out of his way to say what a great job that Linda was doing. But we don't give the award out to individuals, unless I guess they only have a one-person department. But the award for the month of December 2015 goes to the Case Management and Social Services Department, which is Linda Anderson, B.K. Kazar, is that correct? And Linda Boyd. And I think they're doing a great job, and I really appreciate us getting that pat on the back.
Thank you very much.
All right.
We'll pass that on. Make sure that Linda and the case managers are aware.
All right. Next item is item number 20, which is public comments. So anybody that would like to, at some point we came up with some rules, but I can't remember what they are. So if anybody would like to make some public comments, just tell us what you'd like to tell us. And don't be shy, somebody has to be first. And sometimes the first person's the last person, so it's like a twofer.
it's nice that we just get to see some of the public here tonight. That's great. Thank y'all for coming.
Yeah, I'm not the only one.
All right, item number 21 is to adjourn, and so Dr. Burrows usually makes that motion. Do we have a second? All in favor, raise your right hand, show that it passes 6-0.
Concealed guns.